You're watching the Cyprus News Review from FinancialMirror.tv. Cyprus President Dimitris Christofias has returned from Moscow, confident that the 7 agreements signed with Russia will take bilateral cooperation a stage further, with Cyprus confirmed as a strong ally for Russia within the European Union and the Kremlin reiterating its support on the political front, as well as in the economic and tourism sectors. Cyprus investments in Russia exceeded $16 billion in the first 9 months of 2008, representing over a fifth of all FDI into Russia so far this year, while last year's record investment from Cyprus to Russia reached a record $50 billion. The stock exchange authorities of both countries have pledged to cooperate more closely, while the number of big spending Russian tourists visiting the island is expected to exceed the current number of 200,000 holidaymakers each year. The Cyprus delegation has promised to improve the process of issuing visas to make it more attractive for Russians to vacation in Cyprus. Once in Moscow, President Christofias, accompanied by Finance Minister Harilaos Stavrakis and Trade Minister Antonis Paschalidis, also lobbied hard to have Cyprus removed from the list of 41 countries blacklisted in January, after Russia tightened its tax code for overseas Russian companies repatriating their dividends tax-free. Meanwhile, the chairman of Bank of Cyprus and Russia's Uniastrum Bank, now 80% controlled by the Cyprus Bank, signed a memorandum of cooperation with a view to promote a lending program for small and medium enterprises in Russia totaling 15 billion rubles, or approximately 405 million euros for the next 3 years. All hopes of saving the 2009 tourist season from collapse are now set on last-minute bookings from key European markets that supply the bulk of holidaymakers to Cyprus, as the government rushes to counter the 15 to 20% fall in bookings from the UK forecast for next year. Trade and Tourism Minister Antonis Paschalidis said 2009 is going to be a very difficult year, as seen in World Tourism Organization forecasts that indicate a 9% decline in world tourism next year. But he dismissed local forecasts that expect a 15 to 20% drop in bookings from the UK market, which supplies half of all arrivals in Cyprus. He said airline seat capacity from the UK will be up by 1%, with British Airways, Monarch and Jet2 allocating more seats, while local carrier Cyprus Airways has maintained its schedules, saying it can increase capacity from Manchester, Birmingham and London Stansted. The government has also earmarked an additional €12 million budget to the Cyprus Tourism Organization, raising the total PR budget to €26 million. However, the Statistics Service said that tourism arrivals in October fell 2.6%, while the UK market remained weak, as arrivals from there fell by nearly 5%, with a drop in arrivals also seen from Sweden, Germany and Ireland. Russia and Greece bucked the trend, with arrivals from Russia up 46% and 8% from Greece, while total arrivals for the year have so far dropped by 0.6% to 2.2 million. The Cyprus government announced an aid package worth €52 million to support the construction and tourism industries, to help them fend off threats from the global financial crisis. One of the plans is to boost large development projects with an added €40 million. Meanwhile, Panagiotis Athienidis, the CEO of K. Athienidis Contractors, has criticized the bank, saying that their decision to limit credit is seriously affecting small and medium-sized developers, forcing many to abandon projects due to the lack of financing and buyers. Athienidis said his company is ready to match the government's €40 million injection, provided that outstanding building permits for 2 major projects are secured within the next 1 or 2 months. One project in Nicosia is valued at more than €50 million and will require 200 workers, helping the local labour market and kickstarting the property sector. After 11 months of decline, building permits showed some signs of life in September, although the increase may turn out to be short-lived. The number of building permits issued by the municipal authorities and the district administration offices rose by nearly 14%, while the total value of these permits rose by 17% to €260 million. The total area represented also rose by 17%. The Cyprus economy was still resilient in the third quarter, rising by 0.6% on a seasonally adjusted basis, compared with the previous quarter, according to the flash estimate from the Statistical Service. Although this was the slowest pace of growth seen for almost 4 years, it easily outpaced the Eurozone, where the economy in many countries has started to contract. Compared with the same period of the previous year, growth in the third quarter of 2008 slipped to 3.5%, from 3.9% in the second quarter. The trade deficit widened sharply in the first 8 months of the year, as imports rose sharply and exports rose marginally. According to the Statistical Service, the trade deficit rose by 23.1% to 4.1 billion euros in January-August, compared with 3.4 billion euros in the same period last year. Total imports rose by nearly 20% to 4.9 billion, while total exports rose by 5% to 776 million. A study on the habits of Cypriots has revealed that 41% of the population aged 13 and older use the internet. The Ogilvy 1 study, called eCypriot 2008, conducted by the international firm's local partners, Pandora Ogilvy and the research company Evresis, concluded that Cypriots get onto the World Wide Web primarily in search of general news, entertainment, sports, downloads and financial news. 1 in 2 surfers are aged 13 to 24. 1 in 10 visit only Cypriot sites, and 1/4 visit only international sites. Nearly half said they bought goods worth more than 250 euros a year, these being clothes, books, PC consumables and peripherals, digital cameras and video cameras. To corporate news now, where Stelios Hadjiioannou, founder and former chairman of EasyJet that flies daily from Gatwick to Paphos, is reported to have escalated his row with the rest of the low-cost airline's board by refusing to approve its annual accounts in what is seen as a power struggle. But this has not prevented Sir Stelios from going ahead with his other projects in Cyprus that include a new Easy Hotel and the Easy Car hire business. Let's see the report.
Stelios Hadjiioannou, founder of the low-cost Easy Group, believes that budget brands are better placed to overcome the financial crisis. Speaking at the construction site of the first no-frills Easy Hotel in Cyprus, Stelios said that he was preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. He said that people were turning to cheaper options for their holidays and a quick turnover was the secret to the Easy Group's success.
What I'm saying is, if the average stay here is 4 nights, which is my guess, it's not a bad thing we gave them a little more room. And in Easy Cruises, 7 nights, the cruise line, in the Greek islands. So there are even bigger rooms. We go up to 20 square meters. So I think the English expression is horses for horses. Horses for horses. All right, thank you very much.
The group is pressing ahead with plans for more Easy hotels. There are 10 in Europe and 20 more in the pipeline, including the Larnaca property in May and the mid-2009 opening in Dubai. While in Cyprus, Stelios also launched the sales campaign for Easy Cruise and visited the new Paphos airport where EasyJet flies daily from Gatwick. Easy Car also marked 10,000 rental bookings in Cyprus over the past 3 years.
Barclays Wealth, the wealth management division of the Barclays Group, is expanding its range of services in Cyprus by opening a second office in Limassol, offering specialized and tailor-made products catering to ship management companies. In Cyprus, Barclays Wealth specializes in the provision of bespoke financial solutions for the intermediary and international corporate banking sector. The new Paphos International Airport has commenced full commercial operations without experiencing any operational or technical difficulties. The Paphos Airport, which cost 110 million euros to build, will handle 2.7 million passengers a year. The airport, along with the one in Larnaca, is operated by Hermes Airports under a 25-year BOT contract. SFS Group, one of the biggest and most diversified public companies listed on the Cyprus Stock Exchange, reported its 9 months results for 2008, with year-on-year profits after tax declining by about 0.4% to 18.65 million, from 18.72 million euros in the same period last year. The company's management has maintained its net profit target of 31 million euros for the year. Aspis Holdings public company announced that it expects an improvement on its 9-month results compared to a year ago, mainly driven by the increased contribution in the company's profits from associated companies, as well as other investment activities. The company's board will convene next week to examine the consolidated financial statements for the period ended September 30th. That's it for this week. For daily business and other news updates, go to financialmirror.com.